Let's talk tariffs. Yes, those boring taxes on imports that just became the hottest topic in America. President Trump has unleashed a wave of tariffs so massive, it's being called a tariff tsunami. Overnight, the price of almost everything you buy from abroad is set to jump. For decades, trade barriers have been falling, making global shopping easier and cheaper. Now, that's over. Trump's move isn't a tweak, it's a total reset, shocking economists, world leaders, and businesses everywhere. The justification? America's trade deficit is now labeled a national security threat. Whether you see this as genius or chaos, one thing's clear: the rules of global trade just changed for everyone. Buckle up, this is about to hit your wallet and the world economy. Here's what's actually happening. Donald Trump has just unveiled one of the most sweeping and controversial trade policies in recent U.S. history. The announcement has sent shockwaves through global markets, and everyone from business leaders to everyday shoppers is scrambling to understand what it means for them. Trump has slapped a universal 10% tariff on nearly all imports. This isn't just a targeted move, it's a blanket policy that touches almost every product coming into the country, from raw materials to finished goods. The goal, according to Trump, is to protect American jobs and industries, but the ripple effects are already being felt worldwide. That means everything from French cheese to Brazilian beef just got pricier. Everyday items that many Americans take for granted, like specialty foods, wines, and even some household staples, are now subject to higher prices at the checkout counter. But China gets hit hardest, a staggering 60% tariff on all Chinese goods. This is a dramatic escalation in the ongoing trade tensions between the US and China, and it's expected to have major consequences for both economies. Try buying a $300 TV from China now. It'll cost you almost $500. Electronics, toys, and countless other products that Americans rely on for affordability are suddenly much more expensive, putting pressure on family budgets. There's even a 40% penalty for goods China tries to sneak in through other countries. This means that if Chinese products are rerouted through places like Vietnam or Mexico to avoid tariffs, they'll still get hit with a hefty fee. Other nations aren't spared. Brazil faces 50%, a move that could disrupt the flow of everything from beef to coffee. Switzerland is looking at a 39% tariff, while India faces a 25% hike. These are significant increases that could reshape trade relationships and force companies to rethink their supply chains. Even close allies like the European Union and Japan aren't exempt. They're now facing a 15% tariff. This could strain diplomatic ties and make everything from German cars to Japanese electronics more expensive for American consumers. Mexico, meanwhile, has been given a 90-day window to negotiate a new deal or face a 30% tariff. The clock is ticking, and the stakes are high for industries on both sides of the border. A few essentials, like pharmaceuticals and advanced semiconductors, are exempt for now. These carve-outs are meant to avoid shortages in critical sectors, but they're the exception, not the rule. For most products, though, the message is clear: cheap imports are history. Shoppers will soon notice higher prices, and businesses will have to adapt or pass those costs along to consumers. The US market just got a lot more expensive for the world. Companies everywhere are scrambling to figure out how to absorb these new costs or find alternative markets. Welcome to the new era of American trade, one defined by higher barriers, shifting alliances, and a global economy that's bracing for impact. Haven't we seen tariffs before? It's a question that echoes through American history, from the earliest days of the Republic to the present. Tariffs have always been a tool in the nation's economic arsenal, used to protect industries, respond to foreign competition, or send a political message. But what's happening now is on a scale, and with an intensity, that's truly unprecedented. Yes, we've seen tariffs before, but never like this. Economists, business leaders, and even seasoned politicians are stunned by the sheer scope and speed of these new measures. The headlines aren't just about trade disputes, they're about a fundamental reordering of the global economy. Past presidents used tariffs as targeted tools. Think Reagan on Japanese motorcycles or Bush on steel. These were strategic moves, aimed at specific industries or countries, often as bargaining chips to bring others to the negotiating table. Trump's approach is a sledgehammer, not a scalpel. Nearly every country, every product, all at once. Instead of carefully chosen targets, the new tariffs blanket the globe, affecting everything from electronics to clothing to cars. Allies and rivals are hit equally hard, making this a global shock. The ripple effects are being felt in boardrooms and factories from Berlin to Beijing, Toronto to Tokyo. No one is immune. The average U.S. tariff rate is jumping from 2.3% to 18%, the highest since the 1930s. For context, that's a leap not seen since the Great Depression, a time when global trade nearly ground to a halt. This isn't a negotiating tactic, it's a fundamental shift, aiming to force Americans to buy American by making imports painfully expensive. Everyday consumers are already feeling the pinch as prices rise and choices shrink. The global supply chain built over decades is being upended in weeks. Companies are scrambling to adapt, rerouting shipments, rethinking suppliers, and in some cases, shutting down operations altogether. Previous tariffs were leveraged. These are the end game. There's no clear off-ramp, no obvious path back to the old order. The rules of the game have changed. America is building a wall around its economy and hoping something better grows inside. The stakes are enormous, not just for the US, but for the entire world. The world hasn't seen anything like this in modern times. We're witnessing a turning point, one that could reshape economies, industries, and lives for years to come. So, who wins and who loses? When the rules of global trade change, the effects ripple out in every direction, touching lives, businesses, and entire economies. It's not just a matter of numbers on a spreadsheet, it's about real people, real jobs, and real consequences. Some U.S. manufacturers, steel, furniture, and more, finally get relief from cheap imports and can raise prices. For these companies, it feels like a long-awaited victory. Factory owners see profits rise, and some workers may even get a boost in job security, at least for now. But for most Americans, prices are going up. On phones, shoes, groceries, everything. Everyday essentials and even the little luxuries suddenly cost more. Families feel the pinch at the checkout line and budgets get tighter. One estimate, the average household pays $2,400 more per year. That's money that could have gone to savings, education, or a family vacation now eaten up by higher costs. Farmers are hit twice. They pay more for equipment and lose export markets as other countries retaliate. Their crops pile up unsold, and the future feels uncertain. For many rural communities, this is a double blow that threatens their way of life. Countries that rely on selling to the US, like Brazil and Switzerland, face economic pain and currency drops. Factories slow down, workers worry about layoffs, and governments scramble to stabilize their economies. Global companies with complex supply chains are scrambling, facing higher costs and uncertainty. Products get delayed, contracts are renegotiated, and the future of international business looks more unpredictable than ever. The result? Winners are few, losers are everywhere. A handful of businesses celebrate, but millions of workers and consumers bear the brunt of the fallout. The global economy shrinks and chaos ripples through markets. Investors panic, stock prices tumble, and uncertainty becomes the new normal. For most, this is a direct hit to the wallet and job security. People worry about making ends meet, and the fear of layoffs grows. The supply chain web is unraveling. What once seemed seamless is now tangled, with delays and shortages becoming routine. The world is bracing for impact. Leaders debate, citizens worry, and the sense of uncertainty grows with every headline, and the music just stopped. The world holds its breath, waiting to see what comes next. Can the president really do this alone? Surprisingly, yes. Congress technically controls trade, but decades-old laws let presidents act in emergencies. Trump is using the Trade Expansion Act of 1962 and the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. By calling the trade deficit a national security threat, he's unlocked sweeping powers. Congress could try to stop him, but political gridlock makes that unlikely. Legal challenges are coming, but courts move slowly. Tariffs stay in place for now. This isn't just about trade, it's a test of presidential power. Old laws, new uses, and a president pushing the limits. For now, Trump holds all the cards. What does all this mean for you? Prices are rising fast. Everyday goods from clothes to electronics will cost more. The average family's budget takes a hit, with less left for essentials. Some U.S. jobs may return, but many more could be lost as companies cut costs or lose export markets. The stock market is jittery, and your retirement savings could swing wildly. The Federal Reserve faces pressure to cut rates, affecting loans and savings. This is a massive gamble. Will pain now mean gain later, or just a global recession? One thing's certain, your wallet is on the front lines of this trade war.